Okay, we can get started here. Well, thank you all so much once again for joining. My name is Phil Harrinarine. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions here at Villanova University, Charles Whittier School of Law. I'm sure by now y'all can quote that back to me because I've said it so many times to you. But I really do appreciate you all taking some time out of your days. I know it's a Friday to join us, to hear from our students. This is sort of kind of the cream of the crop right now. You're going to get to hear from some of our most involved students at Villanova, the ways in which they've been able to get involved. We have some 1Ls on here. We have 3Ls on here, we have 2Ls on here. So sort of, we run the entire spectrum when it comes to our affinity groups, the ways in which you can get involved outside of the classroom with the great work that they do. I want to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. So what I'm going to ask is for each of you, check last names. We're going to go in alphabetical order. So that means that James is lucky number 1. But we're going to go in alphabetical order for introductions. If you want to say your name, your class year, what group you're here today representing, and where you went to undergrad. Don't forget a fun fact. You can't get off the hook without a fun fact. But also, if you're a first-year student and you know where you're working this summer, maybe mention that. If you're a second-year student and you know where you're working this summer, mention that. And if you're a third-year student and you can talk about what you're doing after graduation, or maybe what you're wanting to do after graduation as well. So I'm going to turn it over to James, and then we're going to go in order from there. I think Erin, you're next, and then we'll just follow suit alphabetically.
Great. Well, thank you, Phil. I'm excited to be here. This is my first panel, so everybody bear with me. My name is James Austin. I'm a 1L here at Villanova Law. Before coming to law school, I graduated from DePaul University in Chicago. I took about 5 years off in between undergrad and coming to law school, and I worked with corporate clients back in Chicago, where I'm from. And the next question is any professional interest right now. This summer, I'm heading into a summer associate position back in Chicago with a firm called Foley & Lardner. I'm really excited to work with their corporate mergers and acquisitions team, as well as their labor and employment litigation teams. I'm not really 100% sure what direction I'm going to go in, so I'm just kind of dipping my toes into everything while I'm there. And yeah, a fun fact about me is, okay, 2 fun facts. I co-founded a nonprofit before coming to law school as well. And a dumb fun fact is Britney Spears follows me on Twitter.
Okay, that's hard to follow. I don't have any celebrities following me on Twitter, and I don't think I have a Twitter account anymore. So my name is Erin. I'm a 3L. I went to BU for undergrad in Boston. I then took 2 years and I worked for a large law firm up there as a legal assistant, paralegal type thing. And I'm graduating, so I'm actually going back to that firm and working after graduation. I'll probably end up focusing on like financial markets litigation or business and torts, something like that. My fun fact, which is less fun than James, is that I got a puppy during my last year of law school. So he is a little mini dachshund named Moose.
I think I'm next. Thanks, Bill. Hi, everyone. I'm Jacky Gillen. I'm a 3L, so also graduating with Erin this spring. I went to Vermont for undergrad. I was a field hockey player up there, but from Delaware, so came back down to the Mid-Atlantic for law school. After graduation, I'm working for Goldman Sachs, and I'm working in their trust company. So I'm doing trust administration for them. I'm really excited about that. I came to law school thinking I was going to do criminal law, so really be open to whatever opportunities there are. And a fun fact, going along with the dog fun facts, my family has 2 Great Danes, so a little bit bigger than dachshunds, but still feel a lot of love.
I think I'm next. Hi, everyone. My name is Christopher. I'm a 3L here at Villanova Law. I went to American down in DC. I took a year off between undergrad and law school. Most of my experience was between the UN, nonprofits down in DC, and the kind of the DC gambit of internships and work experience. Hopefully I will go back to DC and work with the federal government. Fun fact, I was a rock climbing instructor before law school and throughout undergrad. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Favour Okechukwu. I am a 2L. I'm the president of BALSA, which is the Black Law Students Association. I went to Howard University for undergrad, where I was a chemistry major. From there, I worked a little bit at Children's Hospital before pivoting to the University of Maryland to obtain my master's in biotechnology and regulatory affairs. From that, it took about 6 to 7 more years. Outside of that, I worked in corporate America at a big law firm in DC, as well as run a campaign for a former presidential candidate. I would say my fun fact about me is I have 2 sets of twin siblings, and they both are fraternal. So.
Okay, no pressure going after you, Favour. Hi, everybody. My name is Natasha. I am a 1L and I'm part of vpng, which is the Villanova Parents and Non-Traditionals group. Before coming here, I went to Texas A&M in Corpus Christi and I majored in economics. And I actually took quite a bit of time off before school. I owned my own business. It was a residential moving company for about 5 years. And in terms of a fun fact, I'm a terrible cook. Like I messed up boxed macaroni. And so I am taking cooking classes right now. And it's not starting off well, but hopefully by next year I'll have it together.
It looks like I'm next. Hey everyone, my name is Murzia. I am a 3L and the vice president of the Asian and Pacific Islander Law Student Association. We have a long name. And yeah, so I am interested in data privacy law. So I am currently clerking for a boutique data privacy firm in Chicago with, hopefully I'd like to continue there or work somewhere similar after graduation and the bar and everything. And a fun fact about me, I guess going off of siblings and birthdays, I have 3 younger brothers, but 2 of them's birthdays are the day before mine and the day after. But we're not twins or anything. I mean, yeah, it's just really random that happened. So yeah, thanks.
I guess I'm last. My name is Andrew Simmons. I'm the director of the Military and Veterans Law Society. I went to the University of Connecticut. I spent almost 9 years in the United States Air Force after that. And I am going to be working for a firm, Buchanan, Ingersoll and Bruni in Philadelphia after graduation, where I hope to practice labor and employment law.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for those introductions. And Andy, I was going to say last, but definitely not least, right?
Oh, I forgot my fun fact.
Oh, your fun fact, go for it.
I've lived in 10 different states.
There we go. Well, I guess that's one of the trends here that I picked up that I knew about some of you, didn't know about some of you, is just sort of the geographic diversity that you all sort of bring to this panel, which is kind of neat to show that you all came from different places, are potentially looking to stay in or go to different places afterwards as well, which is really great to see. I want you all to be able to chat about your groups individually for a little bit, just so that our attendees get a sense for what groups you're representing here today, what those groups stand for, what are some of the events that those groups normally host throughout the year, maybe what mentorship looks like within your group. Before we do that, I'm going to encourage all of our attendees to use the Q&A box for any questions that you have. I urge you to put questions in there because this is a really great opportunity to chat with the leaders of the affinity groups at Villanova Law. This is such a great way to hear from them, to hear about their experiences, to hear about why these groups matter, and the reasons why you might want to get to join these groups as well. When I was a student at Villanova, I was a member of multiple of these groups, and so it's really great to also see groups expand, because there are some groups here today that weren't even present when I was a student at Villanova. So it's always changing, always expanding, always growing in a really positive way. So feel free to use the Q&A box. In essence, this is a student life panel, so they're going to talk about their groups. But if you have questions about anything under the sun, honestly, about housing or about transitioning as a 1L, you have 2 1Ls here, feel free to put those questions in the Q&A box. I'm actually going to leave the panel probably in the next 20, 25 minutes so that you all can have some alone time with the students to ask them some personal questions without somebody sort of listening in on what y'all are talking about. So to get started here, I am going to throw it out to let me think. Who am I going to start with here? I'll go in the order of the groups now, maybe alphabetically. So Murzia, I'm going to come to you, right, for this first one. And if y'all just want to keep track of that, Andy, I think that means that you go last again, or maybe second to last. But to describe your group, to name your group, describe your group, sort of the mission of the group, events, mentorship, ways in which you can get involved, things like that, just so that the attendees can get a sense of what your group stands for and the reason why we have your group at Villanova Law. So I'm going to start with you, Murzia, and then we're going to go in order from there alphabetically to Favour and so on.
Okay, yep, thanks, Phil. Yeah, so like I said before, I am the vice president for the Asian and Pacific Islander Law Student Association. So basically our group focuses on opportunities for Asian law students, and we've worked a little bit with the Asian Bar Association in Philly. I don't know if that's the name of it, but a little bit with that. Just in terms of some big events that our group does do every year, we have a Diwali celebration in the fall, which is usually just a big spread of Indian food in the main commons of the law school, and everyone just comes and gets some free food and eats and stuff. And then similarly, we do the same thing for Chinese New Year in the spring. And then, usually it's up to the board what we do separate from that. This past year, we did a screening of a documentary about Vincent Chin, who was murdered 20 some years ago, but his case never went anywhere. So we kind of did a screening of that documentary and had the person who made the documentary come and speak to us. We also like collaborating with other groups like the Latin American Student Association, Black Law Student Association, Middle Eastern Law, pretty much everyone. And, we've done a couple financial workshops for, students like that. And we recently participated in our big event, which was a collaboration of all the affinity groups called the Law of Seasoning Food Festival. So that was a lot of fun. It was actually yesterday. And, our main mission is to connect Asian law students with, opportunities in career-wise. So we have a bi-weekly newsletter that goes out, letting them know about any events going on in the Philadelphia area, but also at the law school, and also in any internship opportunities that might get sent our way for diverse law students. And then in terms of just internal mentorship, we kind of have an informal thing going. A lot of the upperclassmen step up and, we talk to the 1Ls and provide them with some informal mentorship. Sometimes in the beginning of the year, we do pair everyone up, but a lot of times it ends up being just really informal and, always a support for the 1Ls. So I've personally gotten to know a lot of 1Ls just by being a part of Apalsa, and vice versa. When I was a 1L, had a lot of mentorship come from Apalsa. So, Favour?
Thank you. Again, I'm Favour, and I'm the president of the Black Law Students Association. And I would say that our mission is just to promote an environment for our incoming students and just for students who matriculate through law school to have a place for them to, one, find their voice, two, have access to resources that will promote their legal career, or just to connect them with people who can help them advance in their legal career. And also to three, third, to provide, a safe haven, just because being a minority in this legal profession is not easy. And we don't typically have examples of how to do something or what to do. So with this organization, we pride ourselves with just having a pipeline of just connections, not only at Villanova Law, but outside of the law school. And BALSA partners with a lot of other affinity groups on campus, as well as different administrative groups at Villanova Law, to ensure that all the students within BALSA do succeed. So I would say that's the centralized mission of BALSA.
I think I'm next. So I'm the president of First Generation Lawyers. And that encompasses, if your family doesn't have anyone graduating from high school, college, if you don't have any family that are lawyers, we're a relatively new group on campus, and we're growing exponentially. I think we had 35 active members before this year, and now we have over 150. So it's really representative of a lot of people in law school, which is kind of something that isn't the idea. Like when you're a first generation lawyer, you kind of feel like you're alone when you come into law school, and like everyone else has family or experiences that will help them more than you do. But that's the exact reason why we have this group, to show that a lot of people are in this boat and to support first generation lawyers, give them a networking opportunities. We've done a lot of things that revolve around trying to expand our network. So the 1Ls were really actively involved in talking with people outside our community that are also first generation lawyers. So we have mentorship programs with that. We also talk about like how to take tests, how to just navigate law school in general. So it's been a really exciting group to be a part of.
Hey, so I'm the president of the Middle Eastern Law Student Association. I think we are the smallest affinity group on campus. I think we are under a dozen right now. So we kind of operate out of a group chat, which makes it a really easy way to intimately support one another through outlining, whether it be academics or professionally. And so we often focus on helping to network outside of Villanova Law. So that means Philly, New York, DC, other law schools, because we do recognize that most of us are likely first-gen Americans, as well as first-gen student attorneys or whatever it might be, lawyers. And so the focus is really on making sure you're at a stable location academically, and then that way you can graduate with high hopes in a position where you want to be. We do co-host with other affinity groups like the Law Seasoning event, and we do try to have a speaker series every semester.
Hey guys, I'm the treasurer for Outlaw here at Villanova, and obviously I'm a 1L, so I'm a new to campus and new to this group as well, but I found it to be really amazing and super, super great. Like I said, I co-founded a nonprofit in the south suburbs of Chicago before I came here, which was also focused on the LGBTQ population. And so it was really important for me when picking a law school to find a school that had like a robust Outlaw available there. And so our mission is to really increase LGBTQ visibility here on campus and provide a safe space for LGBTQ students. I found that Villanova is a very welcoming place, obviously, but being able to talk and vent with and kind of go through this law school experience with other LGBTQ people just makes all the difference in the world. And so we've got a really great mentorship program set up. I was paired individually with someone from Outlaw right when I got to Villanova. And that person has been very instrumental in helping me get the outlines I needed to kind of understand complex topics, to like trust and estates. I know someone mentioned, I believe it was Jacky, trust and estates. I got this whole thing from my Outlaw mentor. It was absolutely life-saving. So we do that. And then something that Outlaw does is I really didn't know about this program in Philadelphia called the Philadelphia Diversity Law Group program. It's for diverse law students to get opportunities with big corporations and firms in Philadelphia. And so I was able to actually apply through that, which was amazing. And I was made aware of that through Outlaw. And so we really just try to uplift everybody to make sure that everybody has, the best chances of success. And some of the events that we've been doing have been, very informal this year, actually. We just did like a cookie and kind of networking event recently. We're working with a clinic here on campus to host a talk about LGBTQ asylum seekers, which is going to be really interesting in the next coming few weeks. So we're just, very busy on campus, and we try to just support each other, whether that's formally through events or informally as well.
Hi, everyone. So the Military and Veterans Law Society, it's not a new group per se, but it's probably been reanimated, I think is probably the best way to phrase it. It was inactive for the first 2 years I was on campus. And so I wanted to, revitalize it because we had a large group of 1L students this year who were military veterans. So as a new group, I'm pretty proud of what we were able to do this year. In the fall, we co-hosted 2 events. One was a documentary viewing with the Villanova Law Students Against Sexual Violence, and the other was a fundraising tailgate, which I think pretty much every other person in this group participated in that as well. for Afghan refugees. This semester, we're hosting General George Smalley, who's the commander of the Army Legal Services Agency. So we're doing some good things. I think, looking forward, the goals for the group are to continue to kind of create a community here. Villanova has a very robust military history, especially with the undergrad. And so kind of create a network of veteran attorneys who can in the future come back to Villanova Law and provide mentorship. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, and then I'm the president of the Women's Law Caucus, or WLC, here at Villanova. We're one of the oldest groups. We're the largest student group on campus. Our mission generally is just to provide opportunities for women law students and their allies to further their academic and professional goals. And we do this by facilitating connections between students, alumni, and faculty. We do have a formal mentorship program. It's operated through the Alumni Relations Office. So WLC kind of manages the student side of that with the mentees. It's been really fun. That's just 2 years old. So that's much better than operating our own informal mentorship program, which was a lot. We have a bunch of events throughout the year. We do a Penny Peddler meet and greet, which is just a networking event between professors, alumni, and students. And it's usually at one of the professors' houses in the fall. So that's a favorite. And then now we're in the throes of Women's History Month. So we have an event pretty much every single week. We've done a financial wellness workshop, a salary negotiation workshop. We did a Women in Big Law panel. We have interviewing and networking skills coming up next week. So our focus is really on practical skill building and co-sponsorships and sponsorships moving forward.
Hey guys, and the affinity group that I'm representing today is vpng, which stands for Parents and Non-Traditionals Group. As you can probably tell from the title, it's people whose law school experience is not traditional in the sense that you probably didn't go straight from high school to college to law school. I myself am a parent, but the majority of us here in the group are not. The majority of us took time after school. And as you've heard from a number of people on this panel, that's not uncommon. A lot of people have other experiences that actually benefit them here in law school. And, maybe you worked, maybe you owned a business, maybe you were in the military, you took time off, you traveled. So the mission of our group is really to be a place of community, of respite. Transitioning to law school can be really difficult, and there's a pretty steep learning curve. And so figuring out, maybe how to use your previous work experience to benefit you, how to manage time, how to sort of get back into the swing of things. That's really what we're here to do. And I myself, I'm a part of the Black Law Student Association. I'm part of the Latin American Law Student Association, First Generation Lawyers, Women's Law Caucus. And so it's important to us to know, for our members to know, that you have an entire community of different people that you can reach out to with different experiences, different backgrounds. And so what we try to do is be there in case you need maybe help or tips and strategies. We provide outlines, and sometimes you just need to vent about how stressful things are. Sometimes you need a friend. Sometimes you need tips on how to outline or how to interview well. How do you accentuate certain things on your resume, or how do you tweak it a little bit so that it works for you and what you're trying to do? I myself, this summer, I'm going to be working. I got really lucky that I'm going to be doing a split summer with 2 different immigration law firms. And that came from a conversation that I had with someone in the group. And so we try to make it really fun. We try to do activities, not so much this year with COVID, unfortunately, but going forward, just get-togethers, whether it's bowling, whether it's lunch. Our mentorship is pretty no pressure. You find someone that you connect with, and you let us know what works for you, whether you need someone to reach out to you every week and make sure you're on it in terms of schoolwork, or maybe you just need someone to sit and chat with about how stressful things are and how we can help make it easier. And so it's definitely something that I think a lot of people can benefit from. Our goal is just to be a part of the community and to be a friend in need.
Yeah, one of the things that I kept hearing over and over again is that a lot of these groups, if not all, honestly offer professional development opportunities, but also this is a way to find your home away from home, sort of your community within the law school community. Villanova is a small law school to begin with, right? But to sort of be able to find your people within Villanova Law is really important, is significant. You want to be able to, of course, always have people in your corner on the days where you need help. and also vice versa, to be able to sort of be a shoulder for people or an ear for people when they need your assistance as well. I want to pose this question to you all, and I'll just call on a few of you to answer it. But this question I'll definitely ask James and Natasha to answer as well. Would you say that you struggled adjusting to law school? And if so, what resources did you use or call upon, or what resources have you learned about that has proven to be helpful to you both? That's a question that anybody else who wants to answer can also answer, and I hope that others will. The other part to that question is a big concept that comes up with college, with law school, with education that's unique and different for yourself, for your family, is imposter syndrome, right? Maybe not feeling like you belong, maybe not feeling as though you're prepared adequately, or that you have people that you can call on for help, for guidance, and for support. So is imposter syndrome something that you've dealt with, that you've faced? And what sort of advice would you give to our admitted students who are a little bit worried, a little bit nervous that law school is different, unique, maybe they don't belong, maybe they're going to struggle? What would you say? Natasha, you're already unmuted, so or maybe you're not. I see green around you, so I'll let whichever one of you start if you'd like to. But then our upperclassmen, I'd love to hear from some of you as well about that too.
So I would definitely say imposter syndrome is real. I didn't think it would be. People told me about it before I came to law school, and I had always sort of been somewhat of a nerd. I really loved school. I've always done really well. So I was like, oh, no, I got it. I'll just work really hard. What's the problem? And getting here, you sort of realize that the majority of people you're here in school with are just like you. They are the people who really do love school, and they love being at the top of their class, and everyone's putting in the same amount of effort. And the material is hard just because it forces you to think in a way that you've never had to think and process information before. And so sort of getting into the swing of that can take a while. And so I definitely did struggle with sort of feeling like, wow, do I belong here? Am I as smart as everyone? Can I keep up? This is hard. Like, am I the only person who's stressing and is worrying about this? But the reality is that we are all figuring it out as you get comfortable with your classmates, because you'll spend a lot of time with them. And you have those conversations, you start to realize like we're all sort of stressed, and we're all talking to each other about like, hey, did you understand this? And whatever you lack, there's someone who does understand it, and they're going to need help with something different. And so building those relationships is so important. And in terms of the resources that I found early on, definitely a lot of the affinity groups outlines are very helpful. In my mind, I sort of had an idea of what an outline should look like. And luckily everyone was able to help me because I was very far off. But just being able to sort of guide you in the direction that you should be going in terms of what you should be studying and what you should be focusing on, that was incredibly helpful. There is a mental health and wellness group here on campus. And so they will always be reaching out to you, whether it's with emails or different events that they schedule regularly for you to come in and sort of talk about tips and tricks and best practices to sort of deal with the stress, to make sure that you don't get overwhelmed. Professors were really amazing, going to their office hours and saying, hey, I didn't get what you went over last week, or maybe I did get it, but now that you're discussing this new thing, I'm having trouble seeing the connection between the two. And they genuinely do want to help you. And they don't try to make you feel dumb for asking questions. There is no stupid question. Ask and you shall receive. And so that was super helpful for me. Also, classmates. The one thing that I love about Villanova, no one here is uber competitive. They don't make you feel a certain kind of way. You can genuinely go up to anyone in my class and say, hey, I was confused about this. Did you understand? And they will take the time and they'll go over it with you. And so my best tip is just to build relationships with professors, with classmates, join multiple different groups. You will find your people. And after your first semester, at least in my opinion, it does get easier. You start to get the hang of things, and you start to sort of like build your own momentum and figure out what works for you. And so don't let the first semester throw you off. You can definitely do it. If you're already here, it's because you're meant to be here.
That was a lovely answer, and I wish I could be as well-spoken as you. I'm just gonna jump in and say that I agree, imposter syndrome is very real. I am a fourth generation law student, potential attorney, and my great grandpa was a federal judge. My grandpa was a lawyer and a judge. And I remember writing my 1L fall semester brief. And I was like, if I can't even write a brief, how am I ever going to, argue anything in court? You know what I'm saying? And so I just think giving yourself a bit of a break, because this is new information to you, and law school is different than any kind of school that you've ever done. This is the best of the best, going to law school. And the last 2 years, I know the cycles have been very competitive when it comes to admissions. And so you really are working amongst some of the smartest kids at all of their respective universities. And so you have to realize that not everybody's going to get it, and everybody is just as smart as you are. And so transitioning to law school is tough, but my biggest piece of advice is keeping something in your routine that you really enjoy, a constant in your life throughout the entire semester, whether that's working out or making time to make dinner every night or whatever it is. I know, Natasha, you're cooking, you're learning to cook, so maybe that's not your thing, but keeping something that you love a constant, so that you have a bit of time to kind of recenter yourself, so that you can go into law school feeling as refreshed and as motivated and prepared for the day as possible. Because it's very easy to slip into I'm going to work until 1:30 in the morning, and then I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and work some more before I go back to school. And so there's always going to be work to do. You just have to kind of work efficiently and understand what you need to accomplish in order to get the answers that you need to get in class. Does that make sense? So I think that I lost that a little bit in the fall semester, but keeping something that you really enjoy is really important. What else? I was taking notes while you were talking, Natasha, because I loved everything you said. I just think she was right. Building relationships with people, the biggest thing. Your friends at law school are going to be your biggest support system. Like I said, I'm from Chicago, so I don't know anyone. I didn't know anybody in Philadelphia when I moved here. And so I've made a huge network of friends here that I can rely on. We've studied together. We've celebrated together. You really develop really close bonds. Natasha and I are in the same section, and honestly, section 3 is superior. It's really, really great this year. So we just really lucked out. So I think that building a network with the great people that the admissions team welcomes to Villanova is your best bet for navigating a difficult 1L.
I don't want to cut off anybody else who wants to answer, so if somebody else does, let me know. But I do want to ask a question, because I know that we're already sort of halfway through, and I want to leave in a few minutes so that you all have some private time. But a question I want to ask some of our upperclassmen, just because I know that experiential learning is a really big part of the experience. So I'm going to come to some of our 3Ls for this. Andy, Jacky, Erin, Chris. Can y'all go through and just describe the ways in which you've gotten involved outside of the classroom with experiential learning, whether that be clinics, whether that be externships, what they were, maybe what led you to that? And if you could just briefly describe for the admitted students sort of the process that you've undergone to identify maybe what you want to do when you graduate. Some people come into law school thinking they want to do criminal law, they want to be a DA, and they do that. Some people go into law school thinking that and then pivot entirely. We had somebody mention that beforehand as well. So just, thinking about what has helped you navigate and figure out what you might want to do. I know experiential learning can be really helpful because you're doing it in real time with real lawyers. But if there are other things that come to mind, definitely describe that as well. So if I can start with you, Andy, and then we'll go Erin, Chris, Jacky, Favour, Murzia, y'all can both chime in as well, just to chat about experiential learning and ways you've been able to navigate figuring out what's right for you or what sorts of areas of law you really do want to pursue afterwards.
Sure. So I think experiential learning really is the first opportunity you're going to get to implement some of the skills that you learned in class, into practice. So my 1L summer, I worked for a judge at the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. I was doing, research, obviously. I was helping the judge and his clerks draft opinions. And I just, it's writing experience is great experience. I think, I'm a huge proponent of writing as much as you can in law school, because, probably 90% of a lawyer's communications is going to be written instead of, an oral argument in court. So I did the civil justice clinic as well last semester. And that was a very eye-opening experience for me. I went into the civil justice clinic, with the goal of helping people in need. And I think that we accomplished that there. And it really kind of gave me insight into how the courts operate in Philadelphia. You have to be extremely proactive. You have to be calling people every day to get somebody on the phone to get some answers that you need. And really what that taught me is you can't sit back and wait for people to come to you with information. You have to go out there and, find that information yourself. So I think clinic was invaluable, for me as a lawyer, and it helped inform me that I don't ever want to practice family law. So that kind of, that led me to discover what I don't want to do for sure. But the reason that I want to practice labor and employment law is because of my experience last summer as a summer associate. I, was given a lot of projects by the labor and employment practice group at the firm, and I enjoyed it. So that's what I picked as my number one choice for moving forward.
Yeah, so I didn't do a clinic. I did 2 judicial externships. My first one was in the Pennsylvania Superior Court, which is the state appellate court. And then my second one was in the New Jersey District Court, so the federal court at the trial level. I loved working for judges. I just thought it was phenomenal. I think if you're not really sure about what you want to do, then a judicial externship is the best way to go. Not the only way, but a great way, I should say, to go, because you see a little bit of everything. So I saw securities litigation, criminal law, tort law, environmental law, landlord-tenant law, a bunch of stuff, all the whole spectrum. So it's a great way just to get a lot of exposure to different areas of law and figure out what you don't like, and maybe if you're lucky, what you like as well. I came in thinking I wanted to do litigation, and I, through the externships, kind of confirmed that. Over the summer, I got the chance to do a little bit of litigation, a little bit of transactional work. And I did kind of have a moment where I was maybe I was wrong this whole time. Maybe transactional work is just the way to go. But I just kind of found myself gravitating more towards litigation. It was just the better fit, and a group that I kind of naturally worked well with, and kind of the style of work suited me better. And so that's something that I think you just find out along the way, and it's not something that classes are really super helpful for, but it is getting out there and working and doing it, and working with attorneys.
Yeah, I agree. I think experiential experience is definitely what guided me into my career path. When I was a 1L, we also have on campus a pro bono society. So I did something called Wills for Heroes, where you could draft estate planning documents for first responders, police officers, firefighters, military. And it was really an awesome experience because I never knew anything about it. I just wanted to, see what it would be like. And I really liked the client experience, being able to talk across the table with someone, and this is, their entire life they've worked to make sure that they're saving for their family, and they want to make sure their assets are tied up the way they want it to be. So helping people in a very direct way. I mean, the law is a service profession, and no matter what you do, litigation or transactional, you're helping people. But I just felt really rewarded by that experience. So I wanted to learn more about it, and I started networking with people in trust and estates from there after that experience. And now we'll be working in estate planning after law school.
I'd echo what everyone else has said. I thought coming to law school, I was going to be huge on immigration. So I ended up doing the Clinic for Asylum, Refugee, and Immigrant Services program that we have at the law school. I did basic clinic, and then I was asked to come back for advanced, and I realized, okay, this is definitely not for me. It was far too personal at times. And so I thought, okay, I need to take a step away. So I went to the New Jersey State Court, civil trial level. I worked for a judge in North Jersey for a summer. And then I thought, okay, this is also not what I want to do. I don't want to do PI, personal injury. I don't want to do insurance law. This is mundane and I'm losing my mind in court right now. And so I went back and to another judge and now working at federal district court. And I love it. I mean, I am getting, like Erin said, you get the full spectrum, civil, criminal, everything between homicides to warrants being questioned to immigration law again. I mean, you got everything in district courts. And so I've realized I've gravitated towards national security and the idea that you can be a lawyer and do what you want and be really happy and find a fulfilling career. I don't know who's next though.
Yeah, so I actually came into law school with like a clean slate. I was like, buying myself 3 years before, getting into a career, I guess. So I knew I didn't want to do litigation, and I wasn't sure about transactional work. And I think this is where that imposter syndrome came in. I felt like everybody was like, oh, I want to be a lawyer in these very traditional ways. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. Then I took my 2L year, I took a class called AI and the Law, and I just fell in love with the whole tech industry and how the law relates to all of that in the fall. And I just decided that this is what I want to do in terms of like data privacy. And so then what I and the thing with Villanova is there wasn't much of an emphasis on tech law at the time. So I took a privacy class in the spring, but I went online and applied to 50 different data privacy internships, just like down the list. This is after I worked in bankruptcy for my 1L summer. And I got an internship in San Diego for a data privacy nonprofit for organization, where I worked on a project for 2 semesters on data brokers that recently got published. And what I kind of tried to do was just turn every class that I took and just relate it back to tech law somehow. So I took like advanced legal research and made a website research guide on tech law. I started the emerging legal society at Villanova. We're going to be having a career panel soon. I'm actually in the car because I'm at a privacy symposium that I'm going to go and attend afterwards. So networking is really key. So, I just decided that this is what I want to do, and I'm going to find every possible way to get it done. And I felt like for me, like, it's not pure litigation, it's not pure transactional, it's a lot of compliance, regulatory, but it could be litigation. And now currently I'm working, through all of this, I also designed my resume in a way that kind of made it obvious that I wanted to do data privacy. And that's how I got my law clerk position working with a data privacy boutique law firm in Chicago. So yeah, I think it's just really important to know, if you don't know what you want to do, I think it's great to explore. If you do know what you want to do, then really just do everything you can to show other people that that's what you want to do. So.
Favour, I don't want to cut you off, but I do want to come to you for this next question. I'm only going to stick around for a few more minutes, so I do want to get to this, and then one other really quick one from each of you, like a little bit of a rapid fire question. But Favour, this question just came into the Q&A box, and I think it's a really good one to ask right now. The question says, speaking candidly, can the panelists talk about their overall experience at Villanova as a member of an underrepresented group? How well would you say the school supports and celebrates diversity in all its forms? In what ways do you think the law school could do better? So Favour, I'm going to come to you to start with this one. And then if I can get Chris and then a 1L, James, to answer the question as well, that'd be wonderful. And I'm going to do my little rapid fire bit afterwards.
Awesome. Honestly, I would say that the law school is open to listening. And that's something I think is very important at any institution, but particularly here at Villanova Law. I'm the president of BALSA, and being a part of other groups as well is giving me the opportunity to, I guess, see firsthand the ways in which administration gives us a voice to share our concerns and to relay, I guess, the issues that a lot of our students may face and how we want the school to support us through any form. So I think that's the biggest way I would say we are supported. For example, we had a really great event yesterday that was curated by a 3L here, Murzia, and a 2L, who's not on the call today, but it was to celebrate, the culture of different affinity groups through food. And I think that was a great experience just because, sometimes with our schedules and with classes, we don't get the opportunity to really mix and mingle and actually meet our peers. And yesterday was just like the perfect mix of just having the chance to just get to know one another without any, I guess, like underqualifying or like a motive behind it. So I think that's a great way the school is creating experiences and opportunities for just communities who are not represented to come forth and step up. And also too, the school also has different positions with administration. So for example, my 1L year, I was a part of, I want to say, the Dean's Council, where I served as a 1L representative. And in that light, I was able to just communicate both as a 1L in my section, in my class, and also as a 1L in Balsa on the things that we needed, because my 1L year was strictly COVID. So it was completely different for us, and our needs were very different from what they are now. And the community also is great. Yes, it's Balsa, but we also partner with a lot of other affinity groups. That's one thing I can say about the community here. We are heard. We do spend time together. We do try to, just fellowship with each other, to just know that outside of law school, there is a community to just express our concerns, voice how we feel, vent, try to find answers, to a case or something, and just, I guess, build a friendship that will last outside of just the library. So I think we are actually very much, there's always room for improvement. I do have to say that, but currently I will say that Villanova is creating a space for our voices to be heard.
I'd echo everything that Favour has said, but I'd also add that the administration and faculty are consistently make efforts to be available, like physically in the building. And so it's a pretty small, it's a building of 500, 600 students. And so we see each other every hour, but we also see faculty and admin, and they walk around doing their laps. They sit with us, they will grab coffees, whatever it might be, as simple as that. And I wouldn't say they pry, but they want to know what's going on in our lives so that they can help and assist us in whatever we might need, especially as minority students. There really isn't much of an iron curtain. It's a matter of, here we are, here's a blank platform. What do you need when you need it? And so I've never felt, or I don't think many people have felt, restricted in terms of asking or saying, hey, we as MELSA or BALSA or whatever need this, and this is how much funding it'll take, or whatever connection you need to set up a program. Okay, sure, we'll go get it done. I think Villanova Law in particular excels at that. I looked at other schools. I went to American, so I looked at American, where they bring in, 800 students in a school, a class year, or the entire building, whatever it might be. And I know that the faculty don't do that, right? And they're not nearly as accessible. And the admins, I wouldn't say don't care, but it's not the same. And I think I would just add that the accessibility of whatever you need is there.
I think.
Sorry, you can go ahead, James.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, I think that both those answers are great. 100%. I just wanted to add, I'm a part of the Student Bar Association. And so we work very closely with the administration here at the law school. And for lack of a better phrase, I feel like Villanova really puts their money where their mouth is. They really do care about funding all of these groups in a real way that gives them the flexibility and bandwidth in order to host all of the amazing events that you guys have been hearing about this last hour. And so I know that all the administrators do come to these events when they're available to come. I always at least see one or two at everything that I've been to. And the administration is just really involved in making sure that all of these groups are really robustly supported, whether that's in attendance or financially as well. So that's all I wanted to add there.
And I'll also add that the undergrad, Villanova University has a veteran services coordinator, and the scope of his duties, the umbrella falls over the law school too. And so he's a great resource for making sure that all your GI Bill information is sent in on time and up to date. And so it's really painless, and you don't have to worry about coordinating with the Veterans Affairs Administration for your education funding.
Thanks, Andy. Okay, rapid fire question, then I'm hopping off. Erin has questions for the panelists that y'all can do for the remaining 10 minutes after I'm gone. Really quickly before I leave, I want to just throw the links into the chat box for the 2 events that are coming up after this one ends. So give me 1 second so I can do that. They are our Supporting Our Students panel with financial aid, academic success, student affairs, and some students are going to be on that panel. And then we have a Getting Involved panel, and that one deals with journals, moot court, trial team, SBA that James just mentioned, the Student Government Student Bar Association. So more opportunities to hear from students. The next panel starts at 1, and then Getting Involved starts at 2. So please use those Zoom links to join those events coming up. Rapid fire question before I go is, when you hear or think of Villanova Law, give me the first word or comment or phrase that comes to mind. So I don't need like a 2-minute spiel, but just give me really quickly what comes to mind. I'm going to start with Erin.
I think like inspired or passionate. I think the people here are very passionate about what they're doing, and they, want to be the best that they can be. And so it's very inspiring to me to see that in my peers.
Favour.
So I would say family. I would say the Villanova Law pushes for like a big family community.
Chris.
I'm going to say a cult. I mean, the alumni network is a cult, and they will support you through and through. It's incredible. It's in the best way.
Murzia.
I'm gonna say passionate about whatever the students are. They're super passionate, and I'm also gonna say best cookies because we have the best cookies.
Jacky.
I'm going to say strong network because we have a pretty robust network around the community and in our area that have been really helpful and supportive.
James.
My word is supportive.
Andy.
Opportunity.
And then last but not least, Natasha.
I would say genuine. We're all in the same boat and we all really want to see each other succeed.